let's run into the Howard's Cams community segment here and talk to Mr. Dustyn Caudle in a moment.
All
If you'll
right.
play the video, sir.
Yep, I'll hit the right one this time.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend Luke B for your next valve train upgrade.
Big shout out to our boy Harris at Monoxide for recording there, but then also for his insane growth. If you guys enjoy podcast stuff, you got to listen to the Monoxide MINNOXIDE podcast. It's awesome, man. I love it.
Yep, Joe.
You-
Joe here popping in saying thanks for the shout out.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Keep up the great work with the Drag and Drive community.
yeah, man. He was awesome. Him and I messaged back and forth, 8 or 10 times today about the truck and all the other stuff they work on, and so it's pretty cool, man. I'm excited to meet him. Hopefully, we'll see him, at an event later this year. There's some stuff in his part of the country, for sure. Well, Dustyn Caudle, if you guys don't know this, is probably one of the he's probably raced at as many drag and drive events as anyone out there. He's been, I think he's raced at just about every major event, and then every national level event, and at a ton of regional events. This guy in 2023 was one of our drag and drive ambassadors. He attended 8 drag and drives in 2023. Think about
Yeah.
that. 8 Dragon Drives in 2023. So pretty crazy. Well, let's bring him on because I wanna ask just how many he thinks he's done. Mr. Dustyn, how are you this evening, sir?
How you doing? Well, thanks for having me.
Oh man, I'm excited. You've been on before, so we don't have to go through a lot of the get to know you stuff, but we definitely want you to tell folks who you are, where you're from, and like your fleet of cars, and then we're gonna get into some fun stuff.
All right, I'm Dustyn Caudle, live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've got 4 Chevy Loves. I've got a 70 C10, a 67 Chevelle, a motorcycle, and I've got a couple of other projects trucks that I don't know if I'll build them or just get rid of them. But one of them's a 79 Plymouth Arrow pickup truck, and then an 80 Dodge D50. But
That's awesome. And you've got one of the coolest tow rigs, small RV. I don't what do you call it? Tell us about that thing too.
I call it the box. It's a 2003 Chevy 3500 box truck. It's a 14-foot box truck that we've converted the inside to a camper, and it's got a TV, microwave, sink, water, beds in there, a couch, so we can hang out in the AC and watch TV or whatever.
That's
Dude, I
awesome.
love that thing. Yeah, I was all over that thing at the circuit. I think it was the circuit. I
Yeah.
was like, man, this is what I need. And you guys have used that thing tow everywhere.
Yeah, we've taken it down to Florida for Sick Week and taken it all the way out to Arizona, for King of the Open Road and Death Week. So it's been all across the country, and it's been great because driving there as soon as the sun goes down, as when I'm about to start falling asleep, so we can just pull over in a truck stop and just sleep until the next morning and keep on going.
Dude, that's awesome. Eric knows, man. I talk about RV stuff, what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna buy one, if I'm gonna build one, and that one's definitely high on my list for all the fun stuff. Well, let's talk about your history of stuff. So you've been 8-time Rocky Mountain Race Week racer, 3 times Sick Weeks. That's kind of what started, got my brain kicking around of having you on tonight, really. And I appreciate you. You took a spot that somebody last minute had to bail out. You took their spot. I appreciate that a whole bunch, man. And I'm excited you're on tonight. So 3 Sick Weeks, at least 3 of the circuits, right?
Yeah, I think 2019 was the first year I did the circuit.
Yeah. Yeah. So then So more, yes, that would be 5 then. And then from what I can find, 2 drag weeks.
Yeah, we did 2017 and 2018 drag weeks.
Man,
With now with race weeks kind of the same week or thereabouts. We kind of stick to race week.
yeah. Well, typically race weeks in your backyard.
Right. Yeah.
Starts at Tulsa or hits Tulsa somewhere in there. That makes it easier. And then a whole lot of King of the Open Roads. How many King of the Open Roads have you done?
I'm not sure the exact number, but I feel like it's probably 6. They do the token for each drive, and so I've got a frame made that I put all my tokens in. I believe it's somewhere around 6 or 7, I believe.
Man, that's
Wow.
awesome. I love what Jared's doing. I love that he's coming to Tulsa this year too. I think that's going to be so cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to Tulsa may be the most visited track of 25. I don't know. I'll have to do the math on that.
Yeah, I know that at least three are going to be in Tulsa.
Yep. Yeah, so it's going to be close. It's going to be between us and Milan again. Milan,
Yeah.
they have a ton because of Michigan miles and heads up hustle and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, yeah. So just doing the math here, that's 11, 17, 22, 24 just in that mix. And I'm sure there's others that are mixed around in there too. I mean, like you did 8 in 1 year.
Yeah, I think I keep a list, and I think my total is 26. I don't know if you have some of the smaller ones on there or not, but yeah, I think there's like some are uh, 16 or 18 national, and the rest are regional.
Man, that's
Dragon
awesome.
drives. So.
That's super
awesome.
cool.
Golly, 26 events, dude. We could spend 2 hours just talking to you about event stuff.
Yeah.
So with that many events, what's been like your toughest roadside repair?
Well, thankfully we haven't had too many major ones, but 2018 drag week, we were leaving. I had made 2 passes at Darlington, and I think we were heading to ZMAX in Charlotte. And we were just a couple miles down the road from leaving the track, and there was a thud on the floorboard underneath my feet. And my dad and I both looked at each other, and we didn't know what it was. So I just assumed I ran something over in the road, and it just kicked it up and hit the floorboard. Well, we go on a few more miles into the next town and come to a red light, and I hit the brakes, and there's no brakes. And so thankfully the light turned green, and I was able just to cut the wheel and turn right onto a side street, and we just kind of scrubbed along the curb to slow down because we had no brakes. We'll come to find out the bolt that holds the brake pads in the caliper had broken, and that was the pads coming out. And so we
Wow.
another racer stopped and gave us a fitting to block off the brake line, and that way at least we'd have brake pressure. And so we headed towards Charlotte and in search of brake pads, and we found a speed shop that thought he had some, but he turned out he didn't. But he's like, I got a customer, go by his house. And I mean, we drove down dirt roads to this guy's house, but he was super cool. He had the pads we needed, and he let us change them there in his shop, and we hung out there and got to talk to him for a while. So that was probably the most memorable repair we've had to do.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Dude, that's crazy. That's pretty crazy. I bet that's that's one of the worst feelings ever is like
Right.
pedal to the floor. Oh crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
big shout out to your dad, just real quick. I had that in my notes there, but yeah, big shout out to your dad who's been on, he's been on all these with you.
Yeah. Every one of them.
Wow. That's so cool, man. That is so cool. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What about a couple memories that you've had? So that was roadside repair. Has there been any other kind of memorable things that have popped out in those 26 events?
2022 on race week, I was in the 10-0 class, and each time we go to an event, I never have the intention of going there to win the class. That's just not me. It's like I want to go there, do as well as I can, have fun, and wherever we finish, we finish. And from the get-go, in the 10-0 class, we were leading and we led the whole week and won the class. And it's just one of those things that, I never expected to win, a class. And it's just made me realize, if you do it long enough, you can earn that, so that's been pretty cool.
You got a chance there. That's pretty awesome.
And then the route for Death Week, that was, I think, one of the most epic routes that we've had. I mean, it was a 9-day event, but still, we covered so many miles and so many different types of terrain. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. This shot here, wow.
Yeah.
The truck, obviously, I mean, super cool, but like seeing it against this backdrop is pretty amazing.
The bucket list mob here saying, how much vacation time do you have? Geez, 26 events.
Yeah, luckily I've been at my job for going on 17 years, so I've got 4 weeks of vacation, and they're pretty lenient with me and let me kind of stretch it as I need to. So I'm pretty appreciative of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Aaron Roberts says left that gear vendor on to win.
That's right. I kind of even forgot about that. That was I did that by mistake. Normally, whenever I got to the track, I'd always turn my gear vendor off, and I had just forgotten to turn it off, and it slowed it down just to the number I needed, and so I ran the rest of the week like that, and it worked out.
That's awesome. And for folks that don't know, that don't follow Rocky Mountain a whole lot, listen, the 10-0 index is one of the most competitive index classes that they have. It's wild and very, very tight. I wanted to show these pictures here side by side because a lot of folks confuse these for the same truck, but they're not. They're different trucks.
Yeah, the one on the right side, that's the truck I call Unlovable. That's the one I started with. We raced it through 2021, I think, from 17 to 21. And then I built the other truck, which I call Unloved, and it's a turbo 5.3 LS deal. And we've just been going with that one since 2021. And I kind of feel bad because Unlovable has just been sitting in storage, and I need to get it out and drive it some.
Now, in the first shot I was showing there, this is I can't remember what year the circuit was. I think this was 22 maybe or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and your dad alternated between you and your brother driving the small block truck, the one on the left there, and you driving the unloved truck. So pretty cool, man. It's pretty neat to have all of those at the same time. So that's really worked out to have a lot of really cool photos of those together throughout the years.
Yeah, there's not many photos of them together, but I got to line up against my brother and get a cool picture of them on the starting line together. So that was pretty neat.
So what kind of ETs does the unlovable truck run?
The quickest it's been is 1072. It's just got a 671 supercharger on it with Vitek fuel injection, which I've kind of been. It worked well for the Vitek fuel injection. Worked well for a long time, but it's kind of gotten where it's been real finicky, and so that's one of the reasons why I haven't really driven it a lot lately. Is just because I haven't had the time or the want to mess with it, because the other truck's been working so well that I don't know if I want to put a set of carburetors on it or try some other type of fuel injection. But
interesting. Huh. Yeah. And again, when you have a truck that's as successful as the unloved truck, like, man, it's hard to go into the one that would be giving you fits.
Yeah. The other truck, I mean, I've always said that I just want to drive it on the street and take it to car shows and stuff like that, but I haven't made it work yet. So
well, you can get in this one and drive it anywhere too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the other struggle. So yeah, a lot of really cool adventures. I'm jealous you get to do with your dad, man. That's really, really cool. And your dad's one of the coolest folks that we've ever met. He's awesome, and to get in there and do all this with you is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty special to have him there. Like I say before, he's got his notebook and he keeps down all the money we spend, all the stats, miles. So it's pretty special to have him with me.
That's awesome.
And you said you got 2 other trucks besides those 2 as well?
Yeah, I've got 2 other Chevy Loves. One of them, they're both stock. Other than one of them, I pulled the 4-speed manual transmission out, put a 5-speed in it just for cruising. But that one I drive occasionally, and the other one, it runs, but it's not drivable. So it's kind of more a parts truck or a project truck down the road. So
Gotcha.
So what you're saying is you have a type.
yeah, small trucks trucks in general seem to be the type, but
Right. Well, I want to talk about your Rocky Mountain Race Week kind of experiences because, racing there 8 times. I mean, you're in the top echelon of racers for count for sure. There's like just a handful of you guys that have raced that many. But one thing I found pretty interesting, you've raced in 14.0, 12.0, 11.0, 10.0, 9.0 indexes, and Ultimate Radio, I think is what he calls it. So what do you I don't know how I want to ask this, but like, picking the index classes to me, I like that stuff because it's so hard to race in that. You're going to make more passes, you're going to do all that kind of stuff. But what drives you to race in those classes?
I think the main thing is just it doesn't matter what vehicle you have, you're going to fit in somewhere, with an index class. And like we had, I don't remember what year it was, but the truck was only running about a 12-second. And a week before Rocky Mountain Race Week, driving to Tulsa Raceway Park just for a test and tune, one last test, it threw a rod going down the highway. And so we just threw a stock 350 in it just so we could make the race. And I want to say it ran like 15s. And so but we could jump in the 14.0 class and still at least be there to compete. But, and I kind of get, you made the point about having to make a lot more passes with an index class. And sometimes I get kind of burned out on that. So that's why I'll jump to a different class where, we can just run the truck all out and hit the road if we want to. Whereas if you're doing well in the index, you kind of got to be there the whole time and late nights and whatnot.
Well, and that's one thing about Rocky Mountain stuff too, is like, that is the struggle. Like you may be leading the class, but it may be by 0.01 on an average, and somebody can knock it out in a second,
Yeah, you can go from hero to zero really quick in an index class.
Yep. Well, I see Lance Walker in here making comments. So let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. I would love, and this was brought to my attention by Red Hat Scotty and Jonathan Sonecipher and those guys. And you know how bad of peer pressure and bad influence they are. So they are suggesting that maybe you and Lance run the inaugural first race at the circuit, which for everybody that doesn't know, that's a big deal in our world. We gamble on that. We raise donations for the charity of the year, all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of trash talk around that. So I want to pit this to you. Would you want to race Lance off the trailer, first pass down the track at the circuit 2025?
I'd be honored to.
Yes.
So Lance has got an S10, and I think that S10's older brother's gonna give him all he wants.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate that. I'm excited about that. And for folks that don't know, this is a big deal. Like last year we had Red Hat Scotty and Keaton Maxon race, and man, those dudes know how to trash talk big time. Lance was at a private testing a couple weeks ago. That truck does wheelies. Your truck does wheelies. This should be, and the ETs are going to be real close. I feel like they'll be real close anyway. So be a great race.
Yeah, as far as right now, he and I we're running about the same time. So
yeah,
and I know he's made some upgrades to his truck, so that'll make a big difference too.
Yeah, well, if y'all end up at the same test and tune at Tulsa, I need to know. We need to
All right.
we need to see some of this early on stuff. So, are you doing Mega Week?
I am, yeah.
Oh man.
So we're gonna sign up for the A group, and like I said, my he's already got hotels booked and everything. So as soon as registration opens, we'll be signing up for it. And they just they're gonna have the tailgate class this year, so I'm gonna sign up for that. And the tailgate class is kind of like the dial your own, where your first time slip you turn in, that's your ET you're trying to hit for the rest of the week to make it fair for all the tailgate participants.
Oh, I don't guess I read that. That's awesome. Huh. I like that idea. I didn't even think about that for the tailgate stuff. I guess I didn't read that close enough.
Yeah, I just read it. I think it was today. I was looking to see what I was going to sign up for, and that's what I read was it was going to be your first time slip. That's what you're trying to shoot
Wow.
for.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited to see some DYO stuff kind of creep into some of the other Dragon drives as well.
That's the pro DYO at Sick Week. That's what we're going to be signed up for this year too. So that'll kind of give us an idea of how close we can keep our average.
Yep. Interesting.
So with Mega Week doing Group A, it's going to be morning racing. Is that going to be different for you compared to what you're used to with Rocky Mountain?
Yeah, I mean, typically race week and Rocky Mountain Race Week, we race in the evening time, and Sick Week is in the morning time. So we've done enough of each that I don't think it's going to affect us one way or another. I feel like it's going to give us an advantage where if we have an issue at the track, at least you're going to have that second group coming in that maybe you can find more support or a part you need or whatnot. Instead of being on the road and everybody's already ahead of you.
Right. So being that you've done both the day and the nights, which one do you like better?
I think I actually like racing at night better because you always have that sense of, if you don't have a good pass, the weather's just going to get cooler. Again, the track's going to get better. You can kind of always count on that for the most part. But I really, it doesn't really bother me either way.
Yeah.
That is an interesting thing that, we've talked about that a little bit in the past of the, like really fast guys like you that are in these groups, like racing at night, the weather does get better. The air gets cooler. It gets, denser and all that kind of stuff. And it's completely opposite at like Sick Week. You may race in the morning at 75 degrees and great altitude, but at 1:00 in the afternoon, it is not any of that.
Yeah, that's the tough part with racing in the morning is, if your first pass isn't what you want, it's more of a struggle to make up, to get that pass you do want. And then, the longer you stay at the track, the longer your day is going to be from there on. So
that's right. Well, let's switch up. Let's talk about Sick Week because it's coming up obviously in a couple, 10 days here, maybe, well, no more than that yet. 18 days. So when will you guys leave? What's your travel look like?
So I mapped it and it's roughly 14 hours, about 1,000 miles. So I think we're going to leave sometime on Saturday just because I want to be, we've got the time the weekend. So I'd rather just be there a little early and, we can hang out in the box if we get there early or whatever on Sunday. But yeah, I think that's the plan is to drive part of the way on Saturday, pull over somewhere, and then have an easy Sunday to finish it off and get there. The nice thing is since it's starting in South Georgia this year, that's for most people, it's going to make their drive a lot shorter. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, that'll save some folks like 300 miles. So
yeah,
those guys coming from Michigan and Ohio are really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about Sick Week?
A few things. I mean, we're in the middle of winter here, and it's been 2 months since I've been to the track, so I'm ready to get back to the track. The weather's warmer, and just all those tracks down there are awesome tracks, and so then the route, cruising down the coast. I mean, it's just there's a lot of things, and it's the Super Bowl of Dragon Drive. It's the who's who of Dragon Drive, so it's like it's got a lot of like good things going for it.
Yeah. In 22, I rode with Justin Chestnut in the Model A, and like, man, just being like cruising along the coast, that was awesome. It was a little rainy that day, but like we're like literally right there at the ocean. It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of pictures of people actually driving down on the beach
Yeah.
too, which is super cool. Yeah, a lot of people here saying the same thing. It's the weather. It's the time of the year, the weather. Wherever you're at, the weather's going to be better there than wherever you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
And especially for guys like Eric who are, it probably hadn't been above 30 degrees at his place in a month.
Yeah.
You know,
This year's been weird. It'll actually be 40 either this weekend or next weekend, which is
wow.
really strange. But yeah, most of the time we're like in that -10, -20 degrees right now.
No thanks. I don't know how people live in that.
Unloved has cruised both east and west coast.
It has. It's been to both. I don't know which one I'd say probably the East Coast I like better. You know, I mean, it was cool to go through the mountains and stuff, but I tend to like to go back to the East Coast every year.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, it comes down to it's cold here, and I think that's why Sick Week works so well. Is it's cold, nobody's raced in months, everybody's been cooped up either in their house or in their garage trying to get stuff ready, and like a lot of times, folks' stuff is fresh. You know, they've got fresh parts and pieces, and I want to talk about some maintenance after we kind of get through the Sick Week stuff and how you keep that truck going.
All right.
And you said you're doing what, like the pro DYO class for Sick Week?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Last year we averaged, I believe, at 896. I didn't keep track of the pro DYO last year, but I know our quickest pass was the 890, and our slowest was a 9 flat or 9.0, which I'm sure that's probably not enough to win the pro DYO. But I mean, if we can go and improve on last year's average, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think Gabby Luan won it last year with like something crazy, like a 020 spread, just insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would think if you're less than a tenth across 5 days of racing in tracks that you only see one time a year, like think about that. You race at Gainesville one day in 2024.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, Gainesville is where I've set all my PBs at. You know, it's my first 9 was at Gainesville, and my highest mile per hour was there. It seems like every year we go to Gainesville, we set a new PB. So it's kind of one of my favorite tracks.
I didn't even know that, but that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What about goals for Sick Week this year? You kind of mentioned, improving on what you did last year. Anything else?
So mainly just I want to set a new PB. I want to go right now. My quickest pass ever was Sick Week last year with an 890, and so if I can go in 880s, I'd be super happy. I think the first pass will. I know we're already running more boost than we were last year, so I think if we just leave the tune that we have in it, I think it will do it. But if we can just try for the first pass, because it seems like every event, the first day is the quickest pass, and then each day after it slows down just a little bit for us. So I think the first day is our best shot, and we'll try to PB, and then just cruise the rest of the week and have a good time.
So that's the question. Do you use your PB as your base for your pro DYO? Like, because for folks that don't understand, like you're not so in index racing, you're looking for your closest index, obviously, to like 9.0, right? And you're your average is close to 9.0 for the week. But in pro DYO, if you run like an 895, you're trying to get as close to an 895 or 885 for the rest of the week.
Well, that just shows you I've only been thinking about PBs and not trying to average the whole week. So
I knew I liked you.
Yeah. Like I said, my intent isn't try to win. So it's just run as fast as we can and take whatever it gives us. That's
do it for the adventure.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, man, how many events do you have planned for 2025?
Not as many this year. We're doing Sick Week, Circuit, Mega Week, King of the Open Road. I'm gonna try to get into Six Smokies. I think that'll be cool because we haven't done a whole lot of racing in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to try to go to just FL2K. I've always liked that race. Like to try to get into that. I've still got some vacation time to burn, so we'll try to figure out some more regional events that we can fill it up with. But that's kind of all I have on my calendar for now.
Wow. So I do want to talk about that for a second because you raced, was it King of the Open Road, and then drove home, and like the next week went back for Death Week. How did that work out?
Yeah, that's I think that's what it was. We drove out to Tucson for King of the Open Road, and it just being a regional 3-day event. Then we turned around and came home. And I can't remember if it was, I think we had 1 weekend home, and then we turned around and drove back to Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, for the start of Death Week.
Yeah.
And then that was a 9-day event, and then headed home after that. So we put a lot of miles on the box on that month.
Once again, we got to ask everybody to, well, first we got to thank our race car friends for hanging out here. Great numbers tonight, lots of comments. So appreciate everybody jumping in, especially those coming from the Miles of Mayhem crew. So thank you guys for what you guys do and keep us motivated. And of course, without our sponsors, we couldn't do any of this. So thank you to Summit Racing Equipment, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Belt Transmission, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and a Racing Junk. And then, as we always talk about the gentleman's agreement, that is, we are going to continue doing what we do because it's what we love to do. We love talking about drag and drive. We ask for you guys to like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is that you're watching or listening. Make sure you do that. Share it out. Tell all your friends about the Drag Drive Repeat show. And then we can't guarantee you that we don't have a way to prove that you're going to do that. But that's why it's a gentleman's agreement. So we're going to continue doing ours, and that's what we ask of you guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's crazy. Man, that's so cool.
And we had talked about trying to find a place to store the truck and trailer down there.
Yeah.
And but while we were down there, we found some cracks in the hitch, and so some other things that we're like, we did take this thing home and go over it and make sure it's good before Death Week's being such a long event. So we trailered it all the way out there and trailered it all the way back.
Well, that's one thing you're not scared of doing.
No.
Another story that comes to mind is the Kearney back home. No, yeah, Kearney.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
For
Kearney.
Rocky Mountain. Yeah. Tell that story because that's a cool one too.
So we went to Kearney for Rocky Mountain Race Week. I can't remember if it was 22 or 23. I think it was 23. And we had just put a brand new 4L80 transmission, said it was built for 1,500 horsepower, which my truck only makes 748 on the dyno. And so made one pass in the heat, and so we were happy with it, but we're like, well, it's going to cool off. Let's just wait and make one more pass, and when it cools off, and made that pass. When I did the 1-2 shift, it broke the input shaft, and
see,
so
it didn't make enough power. That was the
yeah. And I could have probably found another stock input shaft and put in it, but I didn't want to go. That was only the second pass. I didn't want to keep doing that. So
yeah,
we took the truck all the way home and ordered a hardened one and pulled the transmission out and waited for it to come in and put it in, and then drove back up to Kearney for the final day. And the cool thing is that Rocky Mountain Race Week they have an exhibition class where if you break your stuff during the week and you fix it, you can come back and enter the exhibition class. So that's what we did, and we won the exhibition class. So yeah. that was pretty cool.
Right. That's one of my favorite stories, man. Because I think I drove up that Friday, and like you guys had just gotten there, and I was like, wait, I thought y'all broke, and you're like, oh yeah, we went home and fixed it.
Yeah,
man, it's crazy. Yeah. That's pretty wild. Well, let's talk about maintenance real quick as we kind of wind down here. Like, how do you keep that truck in that kind of shape to do, like this year we're looking at 5 or 6 events, several thousand street miles. Like, how do you keep that truck maintained?
Thankfully, this truck is low maintenance. This is going on its 4th year. The engine has never been out. The heads have never been off of it. It's just worked. I changed the oil, every event, and that's about it. Like,
Wow.
I really,
Who did
it's
the
kind of,
engine build on it?
I did. It's just a stock bottom end 5.3. I bought the core for $300, gapped the rings, put a Texas Speed cam in it, and it's been living. And me, I'm pretty conservative on my changes, so it's been the same truck the whole time. It's just I've just slowly worked up to what it is now. It's just and
Wow.
it really hasn't given us any problems.
Yeah, Rodney here saying, you were talking about 748 horsepower and how much that truck weigh?
So last race week, I think it was at Texas, I weighed it, and with me in it, it was 3,005 pounds. So
Wow. Damn, that's awesome.
it's truck's kind of we put more and more things in it, like carpet, just to fit some of the other classes that like the True Street type stuff and things like that. So it's slowly gained a few pounds, but it's still pretty light.
Yeah, I mean that's a heck of a street truck too. 3,000 pounds with you in it, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, any fresh or new pieces in the truck for before sick week?
Yeah, we've got a couple of things. I bought a Motion Rakes Works operator shifter, and I'm gonna put it on air shift. I've always shifted the truck myself, and had a kind of incident at a 666 where I'm going down the track and I'm looking at my tachometer, and instead of looking down the track, to hit my shift point, and I drifted out of the groove. The truck got a little sideways, so it's like, yeah, it's time to put it on an air shifter, and that way I can just drive. So,
And not worry about it. Yeah, that's pretty
yeah, yeah. So I won't have to look at the tack anymore, and just it'll be a little bit more enjoyable, I guess. But that's kind of the main thing I've been working on now, is just getting that all installed, and then the engine fan just recently quit working, so I'm gonna have to get that figured out before sick week. But other than that, it's all the same.
So with it on air, will you run it with CO2?
Yeah, I've got CO2 for my boost controller, so we just teed into it. And
yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if those also run your boost control and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
What about prepping for your trailer? What kind of stuff do you make sure you got in your trailer as far as parts and pieces?
It seems like every event we take more and more out of it, just because we realize we're carrying a bunch of stuff we don't need. But the main things, I like to keep just a starter and alternator, because if they quit, you're sitting unless somebody else has got one. I've just got a couple of spare plug wires. I've got a set of spark plugs, just a few exhaust manifold gaskets, turbo gaskets, just things like that.
I thought about those. That's a good one.
But there's our spares box is kind of it's pretty light. We've got a fuel cell. That's the main thing. We just carry an E85. We've got a 21-gallon fuel cell inside the trailer, and then a full toolbox of tools. But
how big of a tank you said? 20
it's
gallons?
21. Yeah.
Damn, you can go anywhere, dude.
Yeah. Well, even times we get pretty low on the E85, but it's worked out every time where we've never been without. So
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So just pump E, or do you put good stuff in the truck to race and then?
I've done both ways, and I really don't see a difference. So most of the time it's just pump E, just to save some money.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, I feel like I'm over here making notes like as we're talking. I don't know if we've said it in the past, but like you guys can follow all the build and all the adventures that he has on Unlovable on Facebook. You've done a great job posting over there. I mean, I think that's why, like, we awarded you one year with the Drag and Drive Ambassador Award because you did so many. You built this whole Facebook page and truck and post over there all the time. It's been pretty awesome to see all that come about too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what when I built the new truck, that's the thing is I had the unloved names because it's more a lot of content about unloved, but it's just I didn't know whether to add it or just leave it off or start a new page, fresh. But I've just kept it. And,
yeah, I think it makes sense, and it already had a pretty good following, and it's growing all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm pulling it up here real quick. Yeah, dude, 1,500 followers. Come on, all the cool photos. That's where I pulled all the photos that we were rolling through earlier. That's where I got a lot of those.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest benefits to keeping that kind of stuff is we almost use Facebook as like a photo server anymore to keep all the stuff that we are trying to find all the time. Well, what's some stuff we've missed, man? What haven't we talked about?
I don't know. It's just one new thing that's big for me is I've never had a garage to work out of. It's always been out in the driveway on my back, in the heat, in the cold, whatever it was. And so now I've got a new house in Tulsa that I'm living in, and the week before Sick Week, there will be coming out to build a 30 by 40 shops on my property. So that'll be
you're not gonna know what to do with yourself.
I know.
It's gonna be love trucks.
Yeah, maybe some other projects that will finally get built.
Yeah, that's the struggle, man. Now you'll have so much more room for activities.
Yeah, I've talked about my Chevelle before. I've had it since I was 14, and I'd love to take it on a drag and drive and actually have a little more room in the cab. And that'll be something different.
Yeah, a back seat or an area that you can do something more with your elbow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you're elbow to elbow in the truck. So
I bet.
Yeah, that's tight, man. That's pretty cool. Well,
so we're gonna call that the unlovable garage then.
I don't know. I hadn't even thought about a name for it.
Can we get a housewarming party or a shop warming party though, man? Like, I'm in on that. I'll bring some. I don't have any tools that you probably don't already own, but I'll bring some beers.
Well, the route normally goes within about a quarter mile of my place, so maybe we can work that out.
Let's do it. I'm in. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, listen, dude, I want to say thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate you're knowledgeable and the trucks are super cool and all the stuff you do, man. I mean, just thinking about thousands of miles of driving that stuff this year is just something a lot of folks don't do if they have cool hot rods. They just don't drive 8,000 miles a year. But you're not scared.
No, I remember my first one, man. It was a pretty anxious moment, leaving the truck and trailer, and now it's like no big deal. It's like this. That's what even if we break down in the box truck going down there, it's like I know that we can just unload the truck and drive it the rest of the way to the event if we had to. So it's like not a big deal.
Yeah, we're short on time. Offload the truck. Let's go.
Yeah.
26 events. How many miles do you think you've put on? Obviously, the couple different trucks that you've raced.
I know I'm just short of 20,000 on unloved. I want to say Unlovable has about 16,000 miles on it.
Wow,
damn, it's awesome.
So you're talking 36,000 miles between the two trucks, just on drag and drives. That's super cool.
Right?
Yeah, Rodney here saying the Love Shack.
There you
go. I think that needs to be that. Listen, if we end up with a shop warming party, we'll come again.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. All right, sir. Well, again, I'll see you in a couple weeks, man. I'm excited. If you're cool with it, Dustyn's never afraid for me to put a camera in his face and talk about some of the stuff that he's got. If you guys want to watch some of the videos that we've put together at his truck, jump over on the YouTube channel. I think they mainly live there. And man, I just appreciate your openness, dude. It's pretty cool to hang out.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys supporting me. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm excited to see you in a couple weeks. And even though you're trying to run for PBs, man, good luck at with Pro DYO.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks.
See ya.
Dude, how fun, man. I'm telling you, I really like that guy. He is, a big supporter of anything I've ever done. He's been a long time circuit racer. Before that, we had the streetcar shootout. He'd come to that stuff. I mean, he's been around a long time. We really appreciate that. He's at Tulsa Raceway Park a bunch too, which you guys know it's another home of mine.
Yeah.
Of stuff that I do there as well.
And just the two trucks are cool, especially when you get to see them both together.
Yeah,
they were both on the circuit, and that was cool to see both of them.
Well, and just that shot Chris Story took. I mean,
right.
That's cool. To have those kind of memories. I mean, his brother racing it, dad co-pilot, like that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So appreciate him coming on tonight. Again, we had a guest that was going to be here, and then luckily Dustyn is super cool and jumped on us. So I appreciate him. He's always ready to talk stories, and dude, he's got 26 events, man. It's crazy. I think we need to just probably put him on a whole 2-hour podcast and just have him like go through the history. Cause I mean, think about what he's seen. He talked about 2017 drag week. At that point there were literally Rocky Mountain Race Week and drag week. That was it. I mean, there was one guy's garage, but that's it. Crazy to me to think about all the cool stuff and cool people he's met over the years. That's one thing that's really neat about Drag and Drive is the race car friends and family you end up with here. But listen, we're going to start wrapping up here. The episode 95 is going to be another good one. We've got Derek Putnam on, the first guest on the show. He's going to be talking about Sick Week 2025 and some Sick Week historical stuff. He's as big of a nerd as I am when it comes to stats and stuff. So we're really going to kind of lean into that. Him and I are already talking about plans and what to go over and what to cover and all the fun stuff that comes from nearly 1,000 people racing at Sick Week. And Sick Week 25 will be the fourth running of it. So we're going to have a ton of cool content to leading into that. And then the man, Mr. Rovick, is going to be on here. We're going to talk Oldsmobile, big block Oldsmobiles on nitrous, running 9s in 5,000 pound 60s Oldsmobile cars. Like, I don't know if it gets cooler than that. And we're going to talk about how many sets of tires Rovick has gone through. I'm making that note right now because that's the question.
You literally took that. That was exactly what I was going to say next. So glad we're on the same page on that one.
Because he's not scared to do a burnout.
No. No, I remember on 6th summer, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna do a little one. I don't want to tear up these tires." And he goes out there and lays down this huge burnout, and I was like, "Little, huh?"
Well, there was one night he was at some event or at some drag and drive, and then like completely demolished a set of tires. Like I think even popped one and had to like use someone's spare or someone's front runner. That's right, someone's front runner from their trailer to get over to get to a tire shop the next morning. So bring it on. I can't wait. He's in here making comments, man. I can't wait to hang out with him. He's one of the busiest guys, and he is going to be super busy. Hopefully this weekend, dynoing the new engine for the car. It's at Bill Trotter's place, man. It's going to be a wild setup. HRA stopped Bloomberg saying we needed a live burnout on the show. His car's not running, man. It's not running.
He said, "What's a burnout?"
Yeah, don't be a burnout, do a burnout. That's what he says all the time. So, all right, Eric, lead us out, and we'll talk to Dustyn Caudle backstage for another 30 minutes.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys for another great show. All of you guys are race car friends for tuning in. Again, you guys keep us going each week, writing notes, preparing for the shows, articles, photos, all that great stuff. You guys are what keep us going. And of course, our sponsors. We can't do this without all of those guys. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performabuilt Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you on the next episode.
Awesome. Well, hey, real quick, Rovik said it's Chris from WAF Racing's Front Tires, and then also Rich Guido, Front Tires during Death Week.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's going to be awesome. All right, guys. Thanks a bunch. See you soon.
See ya.